Hi, and welcome to Sixcess Stories. We are your hosts, Christina Gent.
And Eric Ozarowski.
And this is where we get to share real conversations with the 6 Degrees community, all about life, leadership, and the power of meaningful connections. On today's episode, we have Valentina Godinez. She is a third-year student at SDSU and is currently interning at 6 Degrees.
Yeah, in this episode with Valentina, we talk about the path that she's on with understanding how to get into the right headspace and being authentic to her with work and school. She just got back from studying abroad in Spain, so we talk a lot about how the educational experience over there compares to here in the U.S. We get into the importance of enjoying the process of learning and understanding how status and approval can impact some of the decisions that we make. And we have a big conversation around marketing strategy, and we spend some time collaborating with her a little bit, which is how we've always approached the internship with her, about what she wants the next chapter or phase to look like, an experience that we can provide her with 6 Degrees.
Yeah, it was really fun to hear just some of the differences that she experienced in her time abroad. And it was something that I thought, what an amazing learning opportunity for someone at that age to be not only immersed in another culture, just how it's different in different places of the world of how they approach learning in general. Just the collaborativeness that she spoke to with what she did this last semester abroad, and how that shows up with 6 Degrees, and how she thought about 6 Degrees multiple times in the way that she was learning about marketing and the ways that she can bring that into her internship, which was really cool. So it was really fun. This is the first time that we've had someone on that is in a team member position rather than like a member position or a partner position. So it was different for us, and it was really cool just to have her be on this side of the mic when she's usually on the listening side. So please enjoy this episode of Sixcess Stories. I was noticing today as I was adding into Trello, I was adding just, okay, here's all the next people that we have coming up. So just adding new cards. And I was like, holy shit, we're getting close to 50. Like, it's not going to be long before we're at 50, which is, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because one a week is, I mean, it's a lot.
It is.
It feels like a lot. I mean, the very highly produced podcast is like one a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, the weeks go by so fast that it's 4 a month. Like,
yeah, it is a lot. And it's funny because I think when we were first chatting about it too, we were thinking of 2 a week.
Yeah,
because
you wanted to do 2 a week.
Well, because we had the idea of splitting up we were going to do like one with a guest and then one of just Eric and I. And then we were like, no, that's too much. And I'm so glad that we decided that was too much, because 2 a week would have been crazy.
Yeah, I think 1 is perfect.
Yeah.
It seems like the right amount of it. There can be a lot just in a week. And how many hours of content? It's like 30 hours of content at this point, for 35. It feels like the right amount of stress and frequency and...
I think what's really great is the marketing from it, because there's visibility, there's consistency. And so when we have something that's reliable, that people know that this happens every single Tuesday, and just because of that repetitive nature, even the visibility on LinkedIn and then the emails, all of that part of it. I mean, that's, Eric, you've talked about that multiple times. To have something consistent is really important for the brand.
Yeah, I think from just a branding standpoint, it's helpful to have something live, like it's alive, like, and it's still going, and there's consistency to it. So I think that it just adds credibility at some level. I want to pause and just, so from a check-in standpoint, since that's typically what we do, and I think we've gotten worse at it lately.
I think we just really get into the conversation and then we're like, oh shit.
And I think that's, I mean, just to kind of slow down, it's like, I think part of it is pay attention to how easy it is to just start talking about stuff, and it's like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's be here. You're in the new space, different than whatever it is you thought. And we've had so many people say that. It's like, oh, this is really cool, or you guys would do it this way, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, gross.
I'm curious if, Valentina, if you have a check-in as someone that's listened to a bunch of these, if there's one that you've heard that resonated differently Not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot.
No, I mean, I think every time there's a new year, I get in this headspace of, okay, fresh start, but I don't want to limit myself to, I have to wait till a new year, because realistically, you can start anything, start a habit, and make improvements at any point.
Yeah.
So maybe what's a positive thing that has happened this year?
Yeah, Christina, since we did this recently in the last week, what's something that's built on?
I think today specifically, there's a lot of back and forth with Sammy and I as far as getting some of the events established and up on the website. And I think there was some momentum of creating systems and processes and putting things in place today, and a lot of questions and things that were answered. And so that was helpful to, I guess, even just go through the training, some of the training processes to somebody else on the team. And so that's been great, because even just with doing all of that, she had all kinds of ideas that she was like, what if we did this and this and this? And so that's great. That's exactly like what we need in the events department.
Yeah, I think mine would be similar. Just in investing in support. And support looks like having you be part of what we've been doing, and even bringing on Sammy, but also just investing in Trello as a project management tool and setting that up in a way that supports each of us to be more effective and knowing who's doing what when. I feel like that has been a positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting to just see the team grow and feel the energy and the excitement about just this new year. And it sounds like you guys have very set goals, so it's cool to kind of, okay, what are the action steps that we can take to get there? I think for me, it's been more, I felt like my year started with a lot of moving parts, especially coming back from abroad and all that.
Yeah.
So I was so focused on, I haven't developed my daily structure, and I felt like I was in the very negative mindset of just focusing on all the ways that I didn't start the year right. So I've really had to take a step back and be like, okay, what has been the positive? And I think just really kind of dialing into my priorities for this year, just personal and professional, and what do I want to figure out about myself this year. I talked about it a little bit in the group of just wanting to really solidify or know the career path that I want to go down, because right now it's not a definite sort of industry or anything like that. So I'd like to kind of hone in on that a little bit more and be a little bit more clear-minded.
Yeah,
nice.
No, I think that I'll join you on just the way that this year has started has felt messy. So are you back in school?
I am back in school. I had my first day yesterday, actually.
Okay. I would imagine that helps a little bit with
some
sort of structure and routine.
But I think also, I came back and right away we're planning, I told you guys we're moving, we're kind of in the process of moving, and we just found the right place. So it was coming back and knowing that I can't fully settle in, and I'm very much like, if I don't have my space, my mind is just not, I don't know. I've been living on kind of this vacation mindset still, where I'm like, okay, when I have my new room, my new space, I will start my routine. So this whole sort of start to January has been very kind of messy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and for different reasons. But you just came back, you're moving, you just bought a new car.
Yeah.
You have a lot of, you're just going back to school. Like you have a lot of things up in the air, right? That you're kind of waiting for things. But I would agree, like similarly, it's just been like the foundation hasn't really been solid.
Yeah.
For certain things with me, and there's so many people I've talked to. Is like this came up in the group that you guested and visited in, but like, like Chinese New Year in February.
Year of the horse.
Just pushing the New Year.
Just try for that one.
Away.
Just try for that one.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's terrible because I keep telling myself, I'll start Monday. Yeah. But I've gotten that same sort of sentiment from a lot of people where it's felt a little bit weird, this kind of start to this year. So it feels good to know that I'm not the only one.
You're not the only one. I'm right there with you. It's what January. We're in the middle.
We're
It's the middle
basically
of. It's basically January's over. By the time this goes out, it definitely will be over.
Yeah, this won't be out until February, I think.
Which is wild. With what you said though, have we talked about be do have do be at all? No. So with what you said, you're like, I don't have my space. I gotta wait for it. So there's this mindset tool. It's one of Rudy's. It's not his, but if you Google it, you can find it. But so the idea is the difference between be, do, have, and it's a mindset versus have, do, be, right?
Yeah.
So just flipping how I operate. And so most people, it's really easy to say, I don't have the thing.
So I can't do it.
Yeah. But
so
someday I'm going to be able to, right? And so like the example is a musician. Right. So I don't have the guitar, so I can't play the music, but someday I'm going to be a world-class musician. Versus be do have is start with I'm the type of person. So it's just flipping it to being more about, if I was that, how do I operate from that space? So the person that's like, I am a musician, I'm going to use whatever I can to make music, and someday I'll have the guitar, the thing that I really, really want.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much power in operating from a place of be, acting as if, like, if I wanted to be X, who is that? How would they behave? Because they're not going, well, I don't have it. So we talk about that a lot. And part of even with 6 Degrees is like, we want to be a company that has a team and supports the people that are on our team. It's really easy to say we don't have the money to afford the team. And it's counterintuitive, where it's, well, no, like if we were a world-class organization that has a team, we would find a way to bring people on.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very subtle, but I think it applies to so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And even in that sense, it's like, yeah, it's so much easier to be like, when I have the thing, it's a lot easier. And it is at times, but there's ways to operate without having it.
100%. I think it's like that saying, act rich to be rich. I don't know if you've heard of that. I mean, I don't know if you guys believe in manifesting or all that, but just visualizing where you want to be. And at the end of the day, you have to take action. No one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, acting as if, right? And I think it gets muddy with fake it till you make it. I hate fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it is not a real thing.
Yeah.
It can work for some people, but there's some mental gymnastics related to, what you said, you have to be rich, you have to act rich to be rich.
Act rich to be rich, or live in delusion until,
Well, just dress for the part that you want, not the part that you have, right? And there is some like physical things that I can do. If I'm faking it, if it's not real to my core, it's never going to be real.
100%.
Right? It has to feel, and sometimes fake it till you make it can make it feel real, and it can help. It can be like the jump start. But at some level, fake it till you make it just turns into like, it's like it goes against your core if it's not authentic.
Well, and I think the difference between the act rich to be rich, it's almost, that can be a mentality shift, especially because what is each of our definition of rich anyway, right? That can be something completely different to me than each of you. So there is a difference there, I think, in that phrase than in the fake it till you make it piece of, okay, but now the fake piece is already part of that core phrase. Yeah. And so it's not true to who I am. But if I want to act rich to be rich, there's things that I can do that align with my core values and also aligns with my own definition of what rich is in order to act that part and be that part.
Yeah. Believe it till you see it is another better version of it. It's just fake it till you make it. When people say that, I'm reading a book like right now, and it literally says it. Oh, you got to fake it till you make it. I'm like, this is terrible advice.
Who's reading this?
It's fine, but I won't name the book. But when you said that, I don't have it. It's so easy to like, well, I'll just Monday.
Yeah.
It's like tomorrow.
No,
Tomorrow never comes.
I'm very aware that it's also a little bit my brain making excuses. I'm not going to lie. I know personally I thrive with structure, and I like to plan out my things and my day. And I know that I'm capable to live a very structured life because when I have had my own space, I was very satisfied in my day to day. So when something kind of shifts out of place, I go into this panic mode where I'm like, okay, no, as soon as everything sort of settles down, I can get back into my routine. But I completely agree with you. If I can be a structured person without having the space, I just have to more so act on it. I think so. Stop making the excuses.
That's part of what is I don't have it. So it's easier to just make the excuse of, well, I don't have it, so I can't. Right? And you've done it, right? So even someone that I enjoy structure as much as I kind of fight it. Like it's really good for me. It's really healthy is what I've learned to have it. And so I'm kind of curious for you, like how has the need for structure and the know that it's helpful for you as someone that just went and studied abroad, that is coming back to all these different circumstances, working remotely with us, where there's not a ton of be here at this day of this time. I'm curious how you're balancing that, or how maybe we can support it better, because I feel like maybe we've talked about that, but maybe we haven't for you.
I've struggled with time management, to be honest, and it's something that I've wanted to get better at. And there's so many people that live off of their Google Calendar, and they plan every single thing down to their meal and what time they're going to shower, and I can't follow it that strictly. I'm more so, this is what I want to accomplish today, and at some point it has to get done. Also because I think I wanted to be one of those, oh, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I go to the gym and I do all these things. And I've had to really take a step back and be like, okay, what is sustainable for me in my life? So I think, yeah, I've gotten a lot better with having to hold myself accountable of what are the priorities and get these done before you can do anything else. Especially this summer when I started working with you guys, it was a lot of, yeah, I'm on summer break, but I'm also working. And obviously my friends would be like, let's go to the beach, let's do all these things. But I had things to do, work to get done. So I really had to, like I said, hold myself accountable and be like, you can't go until you finish these things. So I think it's very much a self thing for me where I just have to keep myself in check and make sure that I'm getting things done. And it's definitely been a bit of a journey to get that structure down, but also one of my big goals this year was to start exercising my hobbies. I used to paint, I used to draw a lot. Now I find that, okay, I have free time and all I'm doing is kind of just doom scrolling. I hate to say it, but because it's so easy to just fall into that cycle. And then when you look at the clock, an hour has gone by.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I've made it on my schedule an hour of doing something that's a hobby, or whether that's reading or scrapbooking or painting or drawing. And yeah, I think having my schedule not be just work, school, but having those pockets of time where I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to walk my dog. I'm going to do something for myself has been really grounding and helpful.
So you're actually starting to schedule some of that, that stuff
I'm
more.
starting to do, I kind of see, like, my mom, for example, is very, very routine. She says, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm more so like, I'm going to find a time to work out, find a time to do A, B, and C for myself. It's more time frame. So I'll be like, I want to be done with work related things at this time, and then I have the day to be spontaneous and free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Christina, like, I think that's one of the hardest things about being a business, transitioning to being a business owner.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Is the time management part, because so you're working with us, and if something doesn't get done, like, we're going to kind of be like, hey, Valentina, are you okay? Like, everything good? Right? But like, we don't necessarily have that, right? It's the two of us, and then we're husband and wife on top of it. So I'm curious, there's a little bit more of like, I'll have bad days and just mentally be checked out, and Christina will be she'll give grace and could be enabling in some capacity of, Eric's not here fully, so this is how this is working today.
Yeah.
Right? There's a little bit more care, I guess, that kind of goes into it.
I've always thought about that from the business owner perspective, because realistically, there's always something that you can be doing.
Yeah.
I've struggled with that too, where I'm done with maybe editing an episode. I'm like, I could just edit the next one and the next one, but having to tell myself it's okay to wait a few days and enjoy this free time and not overwork yourself. Yeah, so I've always thought about because it's not like a 9 to 5, then you have 5 and so on of the day to just do you.
Right. There's power in it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's a challenge.
Yeah, which honestly, just from what you're describing of already taking on this time management and some of the things that you're implementing for yourself, I didn't ever have to do that until we bought this business. Mm-hmm. I worked in a job that it wasn't 9 to 5, but I had a set schedule, like, which you are also experienced with the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And was my life, is these are the days that I have to be in, and on my off days I was probably at one of the other bars that I also got 50% off and hanging out with my friends, and it just was this ongoing cycle. And so when we took this on, and there is no other option. I'm responsible for my time.
And your success.
Yeah, that was completely, it was just a huge shift. And I've had to learn so many things over the course of these 5. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning something that I have basically said, I know that I will not get work done at home. I've tried. I've put in different things. I got something where I can have a standing desk. That didn't do shit for me. Mm-hmm. I still end up finding ways to not get anything done, and I don't feel productive, and it ends up pretty much making me feel even worse about anything I might have accomplished. Like, there's probably things that I'm getting done, and I feel like I did nothing. Yeah. And so I know that I need to put myself in other environments. I need to be at a coffee shop. I need to be where there's action happening and noise happening. And Eric's the opposite. He gets a lot of work done in the quietness of a home.
It just depends. What I realized, so the most structure I've ever felt was when I worked in construction. I had to be downtown at 6:30 to be on the job site. I had a scheduled break at 9, a scheduled break at noon, and then I was done by 3:30, and then I had the day.
Yeah.
And I did it all over again, and I worked really hard, and I felt like I earned that time, right? It was all physical labor. I was super young, and it was, but like that's the most I felt like in a rhythm. And then there's been times since then, I was really young when that happened, but there was times with like at the bars when I was just super busy and going from 3 different jobs, and I didn't really have time to think and time to be bored and time in between. I would like stack things up. I was like, no, I'm just going from here to here, and I have the travel window.
Yeah.
But I think for me, what I've learned more recently is like what I'm working on. It matters where I'm working on something and what it is. So for certain things, like I cannot be like if I need deep focus and I need to like build something out or really kind of think through a concept, I can't be at a downtown works or somewhere where people are moving around and there's a bunch of noise. I will get like overstimulated, and I try to have like headphones and stuff. But I think for us, it's still like there's an ongoing learning part of, I think what I actually need is a room like this where I can just close the door, lock myself in, and nobody bothers me for hours. I feel like I probably would be so much more productive.
Yeah, it sounds like you need like an actual office.
Yeah. So, but again, like just even in this conversation, like I don't have that. So it's an excuse that I'm using as a way to not get things done. And then the other part of it that I've noticed for me is email has been like so much harder for me lately. I don't know, like, because there's so many different types of emails. This one I can respond in 2 seconds. This one I need to think about a little bit. This one actually I need to do 6 things before I clear the email.
Everything that you just described as the different range of what an email is, which is crazy. It's words on a computer screen. What are we talking about? And at the same time, there's certain things that I can respond to in 2 seconds. And then there's things that the brain capacity that it's going to take for me to get back into the mindset of that particular whatever.
But I've even tried a system where like, okay, if I just go through and flag, okay, these ones I can respond to. These ones I need a little bit more time. These ones need action, and then like they'll just sit.
Yeah.
And they're really important.
And then sometimes you think about them for too long and you forget.
And then I forget. And then and that happens too. And then I'm like, oh shit, it's been a month. It's been 2 months. Now I feel awful. Now I'm beating myself up over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of this is tied into where do I go to work that gives me energy, that helps me get things done? I don't think I have that really figured out. And for the last 4 years, it depends on the work. There's certain things that I was like, I can do, but some of it is like I'm missing.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a headspace kind of person rather than a location. Yeah. I think I can pretty much be anywhere because I usually always work with headphones in and I play my music and sort of enter my own world. But if I'm not in the headspace of I'm going to devote this many hours to work, then I won't get anything done. Like you said, you're trying to figure out your location. For me, it's figuring out what gets me to that headspace or that work mindset. Yeah, which I'm still trying to figure out. But.
Is there a difference for you between schoolwork and this type of having a job where there's kind of work like the podcast? Is there a difference that you notice in that, or is it kind of just the same as far as getting in that headspace and making sure that that's happening for you to get your work done?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is right now, the work that I'm doing feels like a burden for school just because I'm not the biggest fan of the classes that I'm taking. I'm still in the taking classes to just fill credits type of thing. So it feels more of I just have to do this. I have to get this done. But I feel like with obviously the work that I'm doing with you guys, it's something that I find more interesting and exciting. So I sit down and, I don't necessarily feel like I have to be extremely focused as I do with some of my schoolwork.
Yeah.
So
what classes are you taking?
Well, my semester right now got a little bit messed up because of my study abroad. Basically, to make a long story short, majority of the classes that they had pre-approved for me, my home school, so San Diego State, approved certain classes for my school abroad. When I went to register for those, half of those classes didn't even exist. So they just told me, okay, pick similar ones, and then you just have to see if we'll accept them. There's no guarantee. So they didn't end up accepting half of them.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so they only took half of my credits, which is kind of disappointing, a little bit annoying, but I really enjoyed my classes that I took abroad. So, I'm not dwelling on it too much.
Yeah.
So this semester, I'm only qualified to take certain classes. I can't really take many of my major like upper division courses yet. So I'm back to having to take a few of the random GEs. I think I'm taking a class like nutrition or something like that. History of rock. Like just the most random things because I need to fill the credits.
History of rock, like music?
Like music,
or
yeah.
Not like a rock?
No. I already took geology
Like
last year,
like
not
Earth.
doing that again.
I also took geology as one of my sciences.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. It's
It
so
is.
frustrating that there's all these bullshit classes that not only is taking up time, but also it's expensive. These classes are expensive.
Well, extra frustrating to have things pre-approved and say,
Well,
this
yeah,
is what I'm going to
that's
go
staying.
do, and then missing the time that you actually have to register. Like, I'm going to study abroad. Like, can we just iron this out before
I mean, it wasn't
go?
even that. I did the whole study abroad process on my own, and I was very, very organized about it. I was like, I want to have everything done. I don't want to stress about this. And class registration was the last piece to just have everything set. And so I was back and forth with my advisors. They're like, yeah, these classes are good to go. Just register for them. And then they just don't exist. And then I'm being told, just pick ones that kind of sound the same and then we can figure it
We'll
out.
figure it out on the back end.
Yeah.
That's
So
such bullshit.
it's really frustrating. And to your point, Christina, yeah, I completely agree. It's crazy to see, especially after doing my semester abroad and kind of seeing how the school culture is there. They just get started on their major right away. There is no the first 2 years of doing random GEs to fill credits. No, it's immediately you're getting in that world of that industry that you want to do. I think it allows people to really know this is something that interests me. This is a world that I want to keep studying, or no, let me take a step back and explore other options. I mean, I went into school as undeclared because I was like, I want to kind of figure it out once I'm there, take a few different classes, see what interests me. But I mean, so far I haven't taken any business classes really, except for the econ, the accounting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a little frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like, well, I guess I don't know what it's like in other countries. Do you know anything about the business side of school there? Is it the same as here? Like, who's paying for college? Is it free? Is it paid by taxes? Like, I think that has a huge part of, at least the US, it's such a business here that
Yeah.
of course they want to have all these requirements for all these classes that don't mean anything to my major or my interest even, because that's how they make money.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for every country, but at least, and I don't even know if this is how Spain operates. I went to an international school, so it was kids from all over the world,
Right.
basically. But I went to a business school. It's solely business. They have a behavioral sciences major, but it's intended towards business. So like if you want to go into HR, things like that.
Yeah.
As far as I know, my school in particular, everyone kind of says that, oh, it's for the kids whose parents have a lot of money, because it is a bit of an expensive school in Europe. But when you compare it to the US, for example, it's cheap. Like,
Sure.
Okay.
yeah. So, I mean, that is an interesting question. I don't know how the rest of Spain, I mean, I can imagine that maybe Spanish schools would operate differently. So I don't really know how that works.
Yeah. How much is tuition? What's tuition these days?
Here in the
Here
US,
in the
I mean,
US.
SDSU for in-state is, I think, around $9,000 now per year, which is, I mean, it's pretty good if you're an in-state student. If you're out of state, you're paying over like 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not that significantly different than
Than when we were in college? Yeah, I
10
want to
years
say,
ago, 15 years ago.
I want to say it's pretty relative for in-state tuition.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But still, I mean, I have no regrets of going to K-State. It was amazing. The experience was amazing. And there was so much that I learned, of course. But I definitely feel like if I was a parent, I think, granted, I don't know because I'm not one, but I think if I had a kid who was like, honestly, I don't think I want to go to college. I think I'd rather go travel or live abroad for a while or whatever the thing is, I would say, yeah, go for it, kid. Because there's a lot of like real life experiences that are going to provide so much knowledge. And yeah, I have a hard time with the education system in the
Well,
US.
I think is part of it is, can you develop a habit or a desire or to want to learn more? The thing about education is it's different than learning, where it's, if I want to learn how to bake something or do something, like I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
Painting, you mentioned hobbies, and it's like, there's excitement there. So
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like this chore. When it's filled with curiosity and interest and passion, people are going to go do the thing. And so to have to go take classes that literally mean nothing
Yeah, or even
is just dumb.
if it was, I think, so the way that they have it all mapped out, whereas if I get this type of degree, I still have to have X amount of the life sciences, X amount of whatever the other things are. It's like, well, what if I just had to have X amount of credits? There's still certain classes that are going to be the only types of classes that apply to my major, right? When I declare, if I could declare business, I at least have to take out of this pocket of classes. Then what if everything else was based on a hobby, based on like painting isn't something that's going to be related to business, but instead of taking history of rock, which I might not be interested in, or taking geology, I definitely did not have any interest in that class. Can I go take a painting course that I'm still getting an education? I'm still paying for the education. Why can't that credit apply to my major?
Yeah, I think my perspective on college has definitely changed a lot now that I'm in it and almost out of it. I think
You're a junior this year?
I'm a junior this year, yeah. But I mean, I always, for example, had this kind of negative connotation to community college just because I felt this immense pressure from just everyone around me, like, oh, going to the top school, taking all these AP classes so that you have a chance to get into A, B, and C. And I don't know, just the environment that I was in, just saying community college was kind of frowned upon a little bit. But now I completely understand why some people decide to do their first 2 years and not drop that amount of money at the end of the day.
It was the smartest thing I ever did.
2 years, save the money, get the, I don't want to say useless, but the unnecessary classes out of the way, or just that may not interest you, and then you can transfer, and it's so much easier too. You can transfer to an actual university and start taking the classes that are going to be useful to you and your career.
I think California, specifically San Diego, has its community college is basically free.
Yeah.
I think in the last couple of years,
I mean,
they
they have so much financial aid as well. Like you have those opportunities as well. I've taken some summer classes through community college, and they're great.
Yeah, and they transfer and
they
all the
transfer
credits,
and then you get those credits done.
It was the smartest thing I did.
Yeah.
I think for total, like my first 2 years of college, I spent like $5,000. Like it was maybe $5,000 a year.
And to your point, Valentina, it's so interesting where there's almost this the negative connotation with the community college, like this, like, oh, you're going to community college, right? And it's, what is that about? Like, what is this status game that we're playing around education? That's ridiculous.
100%.
Well, go ahead.
I think also too, I know so many people who went in debt to just be able to say that they go to a top university just for the name. And like you said, Christina, I remember my junior year when you're kind of starting to think about college, more so senior when you're applying. Yeah, just the pressure of, there was a moment where I almost felt like I didn't even want to go to these schools. I was just applying to them because just the wanting to say, oh, I got in as well, because everyone around you is like doing all these things and all these extracurriculars to put on their college applications and this and that. Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot. And my brain got a bit clouded too, where I was like, oh yeah, I would never go to community college. But now looking at it, I'm like, save your time, like work, save up money during those 2 years, and then actually take classes that you find interesting.
Yeah, so much of it is exactly what you just said around, it's a status game. And so it's like not even paying more to go to college isn't make it a good college. It's famous college. I'm getting into a famous college and I get the badge.
There's a
I
name.
get the piece of paper, and that doesn't even matter. To have
At all.
a big name college on your resume versus community college on your resume is literally irrelevant.
Yeah.
For most places in 2026.
Yeah, and I had so many people tell me at the time, just pick the school you think is the best fit for you. Trust me, once you're in, once you start your life there, what people think from high school will not matter. You will not really be around these people ever again. And it is so true. It is so true. I'm like, personally, I don't know what most people from high school are doing. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
So I remember it was so prevalent, that era when you're applying to schools. Where's everyone going? Oh my God, did you see this person got to here? It doesn't matter at all.
That's so funny.
It is so funny. You've probably, because you edit this, you probably have heard me talk about this multiple times, of just the time of high school and everything being so important, and then
So
growing
serious.
up and so serious.
Everything
So
was
serious.
so serious.
And you're right. I mean, so I have 4 really, really, really good friends that I still am in close contact with from high school. The rest of the people from high school, I haven't seen these people in 15 years, maybe longer, whatever. I mean, it is crazy.
Yeah, I just think, imagine making such a big decision to look good in the eyes of people from high school and then you never see them again.
To go into a bunch of debt
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
that is
people
just to
do
be
it.
able to impress a bunch of people that don't even fucking matter, and,
Yeah.
and by the time you're done with the investment,
That I don't see again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
the crazy part is the way that school is set up to, you need to take these AP classes, you need to do these extracurricular, you need to
cure
do all of
cancer.
these things.
You need to cure
You need to have saved every stray dog in the world. Like,
It's why, but like it's all the system set up because it's not just your friends telling you that, it's your advisors telling you that, it's your
the
teachers,
counselor,
it's your
the
parents,
principal,
it's the way that America is set up
yeah,
is
the way that
to get into a
we're
famous
programmed.
college
Yeah.
because they have a famous football team.
Yeah. And it's terrible because there's some people that are able to go out of their way and do all these extracurriculars and, they find AP classes easier. There's some kids that maybe aren't as good at taking tests or they struggle more with just the structure of school. And it's so unfair to measure their worthiness to be in a college just based off of that. I don't know.
There's so I'll send it to you. I've been listening to a lot of Seth Godin stuff. I don't know if you know who Seth is, but he's got this, it's like a 10-minute, 15-minute talk about what is school for. Basically, as a country, we need to reassess what it's for. The way that we currently have it set up is not what it's for. Right now, it's set up to process people to be obedient so that they can have a 9-to-5 job. And that was better in the industrial age where all these people would stay at the same company. They'd go work somewhere. They'd be at the same company for 30, 40 years, and they needed to work the 9-to-5 thing. Like, that's not how it works anymore. So what is school for is a really powerful question for anyone that's a teacher, anyone that's in any sort of admin. But it's backwards in so many ways. And he has a couple really good examples of the way that we think about it.
Yeah, and to your point, if you want to learn something, there are so many other resources to learn
You can
probably better than somebody that is at school.
Each of us can go on Harvard's website right now and take free online classes about any topic.
Yeah.
And it's Harvard. That's a real resource. We could YouTube anything and it's available for free.
The way that school...
You don't get a piece of paper for it. That's the difference.
The way that school was set up too, for me, I don't enjoy the learning process as much as I think that I could if I wasn't put through this system that you're talking about, where we have grades and we have all these things that we're being measured against the people in the same class as us, to your point of some people aren't great at test taking. And I just remember so hard some of the people that they would think that they're just not good at math because of however it's being taught and who it's being taught by and who they're next to in the room that's getting something that they're not. And no, they just have a different way of understanding this problem and how to solve it. And that's how everyone's going to operate. And so for me, as someone who I needed to get all A's, I needed this approval aspect of it. If I didn't get A's, I literally cried about it, which is so just like, why? And so because of that, it's led to me not really thinking that I'm going to enjoy the learning process for something that I might actually be interested in, because I have this negative, almost a PTSD of of the learning process in school.
What if school is to help kids get excited about learning?
Right.
Like, what if that's what it was for?
Yeah.
And figuring out what you enjoy and what you're good at and what your superpower is, right? It's part of what you just said reminded me of something else around one of the worst things to ask. Everyone does this, but like to ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up, is the wrong question. The better question, this is a Seth Godin thing too, is what's an interesting problem that you want to solve? Ooh. And if you think about the way that you're learning, find something that's interesting to you and do the things that are going to help you solve this problem. That problem might change, but what's a really interesting problem that you want to solve is so much easier to answer than what do you want to be?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's hard to be excited about learning when, like you said, we are programmed to almost just pass. just study the material. I guarantee you'll never remember it after the test, and get the good grade, and then that's that.
Yeah.
Like, what did you take away from the class? I honestly could not tell you what I learned in half of my classes last year.
Yeah,
Because it was
that's
just
crazy.
pass, get it over with, moving on.
Yep.
My approach, I don't know if this sounds maybe similar for you, but so I figured out how to do school. I know what I need to do. I need to show up. I need to pay a little bit of attention. I need to make a few notes. As long as I do that, I will get at least a B or a C. I will pass the class, guaranteed. And I started having the mindset that like school is set up for me to succeed, and it's something that I've tried to apply to life. There's teachers, and there's, if you want to spend extra time, or if you're struggling, there's tutors, there's other people that can help you. But like school is designed to help you be successful at school if you utilize the resources.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The environment is catered to that, but most people don't utilize
Yeah.
it. The American library is one of the most underutilized resources that we have in the country because it has a weird connotation for certain people. So I'm curious, is that similar for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really thought of it that way, because you're right. There are so many resources, and everyone has, like, if you devote the time and you apply yourself, you will pass the class. Realistically, it's hard not to, unless it really is something
It's
that
hard
you
not to.
don't understand.
Unless you just don't show up, you
Yeah.
blow it off, but you're actively trying not to.
Yeah, I mean, you're actively making the choice to not take the steps to succeed.
Yeah.
So
And then there's the people that can just show up and like not do any of it and show up on the test and ace the test.
Yeah.
Like that's a
Of
different
course.
kind. It's a
the
different kind of
gifted.
thing.
Yeah.
But I was the person, like, I never studied. I knew what I needed to do. And then the way my brain worked is like, I know 90% of it. I'll flip through it. I'll spend maybe 10 minutes reviewing the notes that I took. That was it. That was studying for me. And my mom hated it. She's like, this is bullshit. Yeah, I had to work 3 times as hard to get half the grades that you got. In my senior year of college, I didn't even know like summa cum laude, magna cum laude. I didn't know that was a thing. And I graduated with one of them. I still don't actually know which.
You did?
My mom's like, "How did you get how did you get this?" And I was like, "What is that? Is that good?"
I didn't even know that you did that.
Yeah, it's on my diploma somewhere.
That's hilarious. You're
Oh my
just like,
God.
yeah,
I figured,
I
but I figured out
Yeah.
school. Like,
Yeah.
and why didn't that translate to life
And
more?
that's hard to do, really.
Yeah. And I don't mean to say that in like a condescending way or in a way that like someone hears that as like, oh, fuck you, Eric. But it was like, no, it's set up for me to succeed.
Yeah.
I figured out what worked for me. And then I showed up.
It sounds more like you figured out the game.
Yeah.
And most people get stuck in, there's the person like me that I need the approval, so I need the A's and I need the perfect attendance. I need people to see that I'm a good student type of thing, right? And then there's some people who want to rebel against it because of whatever reason that they have, and so they're not even going to play the game, right? They're just going to take themselves out of the game, and that's usually like probably where we see the people who aren't succeeding in the environment because they're just like, no, I'm done.
Oh yeah,
with
or they have ADHD, or they have
Sure.
things going
Yeah,
on, and they're
absolutely.
not, the way that it's being taught isn't
It's
set
not
up for.
supportive.
It's not supportive to that person.
Sure.
It's actually counterintuitive to be set up for success.
Yeah.
It's crushing that person's desire to learn. Mm-hmm. Right. But for you, Valentina, you've mentioned in the group and kind of on here when we started, so you're trying to figure out what you want to do, and it's a big question.
Yeah.
Over the next year, like, what are the things that we can expose you to or what are the actions that you feel like you need to take to figure out what that is or to get closer to it? Because you kind of alluded to it in the beginning. It's like part of the best way to figure out if I like something is to try it.
Yeah.
Right. And experience something, a job or whatever. And oh, like there's something here, or most of us will know pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
This is for me. This isn't. So I'm curious of just what you're sitting with. How do you narrow down what it is?
I mean, I've definitely been trying to figure out the action steps myself. I think where my head is at now is, now that I'm back and now that I'm here, and especially being in this 6 degrees world, there's so much opportunity to meet all these different people and talk to them and be curious and ask questions about what they do, how they got there. That's kind of my first thought of, I'm going to try to talk to as many people as I can, because realistically, I can't try everything per se. So even from conversation, I can probably tell if something sounds interesting to me. So my goal as of now is to try to just start meeting and building relationships within the community to kind of see, okay, this is something that might spark my interest, tell me more, and go from there.
Any industries specifically that you've come across so far that might be interesting to explore more at this stage?
I think I kind of always had the idea of I'm going to study marketing just because it was something that I had been exposed to, and it felt, I don't want to say easy, but it felt very accessible or easy to approach from my perspective. And I got to take a lot of cool marketing classes when I was abroad with really great professors, and I found the material super interesting, but I kind of realized that I don't know if it is something that I would want to fully dive into. I don't know. Just from my experience with Six right now, I've really loved kind of the management piece, the project management. That's kind of been my starting point. How could that translate to other sort of industries or worlds? So I don't know if I have a specific industry in mind.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed what we've been doing, and I don't know, I've loved the way that we've gone to kind of build together. That's been really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not sure.
That's, I think part of it is not having an answer. That's why you're still working through some of it. And I think the reason I ask is more of what are the things. So marketing was something that 6 months, 7 months ago, and it sounds like you went and studied abroad, had some experience with marketing. If that's something that we can give you more exposure to, or in a different way, because marketing is such a big word.
Yeah, 100%.
We could ask 20 people what marketing means, and I can get 20 different answers.
Yeah.
The follow-up question, though, you studied abroad with some great professors that taught marketing. Was there anything specific there that was like, ooh, this part of what I learned was really interesting, and I'd love to know more about fill in the blank?
I mean, a lot of my classes, like my most memorable class was probably on branding, because the way the classes are set up there, which I also thought was super interesting, and going back to the building excitement around learning, it actually made me excited to learn about these things, because it was applying these concepts to things, to real companies, real life, things that could actually be useful. We had a project where we had to fully develop a product from zero, come up with a name, the market analysis, do all of this intensive research, and we came up with this entire product, made a prototype, made a logo, just branded it, and then we kind of pitched it to him. And I mean, that was really, really cool, really exciting to work with a team. So I think more so what I realized is the things that I liked. For example, I liked collaborating, sort of the delegating, taking a step back and being like, what is everyone's strengths? How can we make this the best that it can be? Yeah, I think that was one of my most memorable classes, the branding and strategic marketing.
But so it sounds like what I'm hearing is a process. Did you find yourself in the leadership role of who's doing what? So group projects, most of the time, one person ends up doing a good chunk of it.
A little bit. It was weird because I haven't done a group project since like high school. So the school is very project-based and very presentation-based, which is just cool because you're not just graded on tests, as we talked about. Because if you're not a great test taker, that's okay. You have a lot of room to earn points back. At first, it was a little bit weird. Okay, group project with all these kids from around the world, from different cultures. Also, the school that I went to, the same people that you're with in one class are the same people you'll be with all 4 years. Right. The classes are very small and everyone knows each other. By now, they've been together for 3 years. So I was kind of like the new kid, really. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So having to be part of these groups with kids that know each other was definitely intimidating, because in group projects, I've always taken the lead role just because I'm more so like, let me just do it. It's very easy for me to just be like, let me just do the hard part. If somebody doesn't finish their work, fine, like I'll just get it done so we can get the grade. This time around was a little bit more intimidating, having to put myself out there to feel like I had a voice, but I really wanted to be like clear about, here are my strengths, here's what I like to do, here's how I feel like I can collaborate to this team. Let me know where you guys think it would fit best.
Well, I love it. This has kind of been on my mind, but with this conversation, I love the I statements of what you just said, of coming to that, coming to a group like that and saying, here's what I can do well, here's what my strengths are, and like leading from that place is so effective. And people, oh, okay, you have my attention in a very different way than like, what do you guys want to do? Right? How about for you with group projects?
I mean,
which one were you?
Which one was I? I think I tried to be more of like second in the lead. I would look for the person who's going to maybe be the leader of the group. And then if that person didn't exist in the group, then I would probably take it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure between the three of us, we all have done a version of no one did what they were supposed to do, and it's on me, and we're going to make sure that we get this done.
Yeah, because just going back to the grade piece of it, of making sure that if someone slacks off, I guess I can't really remember a time where that was the case. I feel like most of the times that I was in any kind of group project, it was like we got to choose who we were partnered up with. Like, I mean, if I go back to high school, I feel like we got to really decide who we wanted in our group.
Yeah, high school's different.
Yeah.
Most of at DePaul, where I went to my second half of college, like everything was group projects. They wanted the collaboration part. It was very much business world, real world experience. The university was downtown Chicago. Okay. It was very much set up in a different way, but 90% of what we did was group projects.
Yeah. Interesting.
Which is just different.
Yeah.
Right. And
I didn't really get that in college. Actually, going back to the geology class, that's the only time I can remember that we had a group
this geology
project.
Class really left an impact on
you. We had to create, I don't think this was the group project, but the thing I remember was having to create, I don't even know what it's called. I can't remember, but the erosion system, right? Where the water has to go down the thing. I don't know.
Irrigation?
What?
Irrigation system?
No, it was erosion. It was about like the erosion of gravel
rocks.
And rocks, right?
Sure.
So like
creating
creating the path within the mud and the sand and everything for the water to, I don't know. It was like, come
I
on.
took geology too, and I don't know either. That goes to show and prove our point.
Exactly.
It's just like school. I mean, what's interesting, this conversation has been so heavily about school, right? And you're in it. That's part of it, right?
Yeah.
But so much of what I learned when I was in school is the theory of it is not even how it works
Right.
And so I would be interested for you. So like this branding class that you took, and a lot of times the other part of it is they're the examples that get used are these big, really massive companies, and they have these big brands in that instance, and it makes sense. I'm curious how any of that translates to like what you're experiencing with 6 Degrees as a brand, as two people that we spend a lot of time. If we do anything right, we have built a brand around the experience of what it means to be part of our community and the attention to detail. And it's a completely different thing than like building a Coca-Cola or Apple.
Yeah. Funny enough, I had a lot of moments where I would think about 6 because being the first person that you guys kind of brought on feels like I'm here from the start a little bit. For one of our other assignments, we had to find like the growth opportunities, pick a brand and do like a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, all that. And I had moments where I would think, like, what could be some good opportunities for 6? Or, there was just so many concepts to play around with that apply to any company. But it was cool to actually be taught the vocab, you could say, or the terms and how to actually apply them, how to develop them, how to look for them, how to conduct actual analysis and research. Because you think marketing, you think of social media, like posting, but there's so much more to it. And that was the first time where I got exposed to another side of it, aside from just the social media part of it all.
Yeah, I think that's the part where I think a lot of people that I talk to younger in their careers, it's just social media, and there's so much more strategy to marketing. Social media is a piece of the strategy.
Yeah, we did our professor would show us marketing campaigns from big brands, and then we would have to just kind of shout out our first thoughts, and then he would show us the actual strategy that went behind it, and you're like, what? It's kind of mind-blowing, truly.
Yeah.
Because something that may seem so simple, or you may look at it and think, oh, that's clever, there's actually so much that goes into that. Yeah.
It's something that we talked about recently, about just how a marketing campaign can literally shift a culture, which is wild.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite strategies, and I don't actually even know how successful it was because I can't even remember the candy bar that it was. So did it really leave that big of an impression? But I liked the strategy. I liked the idea. They put 5 gold stars on the side of their candy bar because when people leave reviews, they're leaving a 5-star review. So naturally, my brain is going to start seeing those 5 stars more often. So can I associate that to the candy bar? So I just thought it was really clever. It's taking something that's already existing in our world and in our day-to-day culture, something that I'm seeing very often, and can I take that and can I just tie it to our brand in some capacity so that now every time I see it in the real world, I just always think of that brand.
Yeah.
I love smart marketing strategy. There's campaigns, there's tactics, just even like posts. There's so many levels to it, but like to have it, and even the way social media works has changed so much. But I love when it's really smart and really thought out and intentional and it makes sense. And some of the smartest marketing these days is piggybacking on stuff that already exists. Probably the best one that I've seen recently. Did either of you see what Timothée Chalamet did for his new movie? Movie came out in December. Marty Supreme.
Oh, Marty Supreme?
Yeah.
No, I know about
I haven't
the
seen
movie.
it. I haven't seen it yet.
either.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. I know he
on my
did
list.
some kind of, it was a Zoom call with his team, and it wasn't real, right? But he did.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what he did, though.
Yeah, so he did a bunch of different stuff. In terms of like case studies, like a very recent relevant case study. Like, so part of it is like, how do I cut through the noise? There's so much noise. And so everything he did was Marty Supreme Christmas Day. And he went on all these podcasts and did it. So the strategy is, I'm going to put this message into the world. How do I do that? There's a bunch of things that I can do that. The viral video that he did was basically him going on a Zoom with his marketing team and being utterly ridiculous about what he needed them to do, to the level of, we need to paint the Statue of Liberty orange and all this stuff. And like, I saw that video probably 2 months before because I nerd out on some of that stuff, but it's literally like, I watched it, I'm like, this is a marketing stunt. And people took it as he's lost his fucking mind.
I never saw this.
No, it's like 10 minutes, 15-minute video. Like the marketing team, and I don't know if the marketing team was in on it, but kind of looking back, you can look at all the things he did. And that movie was one of the most successful movies last year because he got, from a marketing standpoint, like, how do I get people's attention? And then how do I change behavior? How do I get them to go do something?
Yeah.
And he got a bunch of people to show up on Christmas Day to go watch Marty Supreme, and now he's winning all these awards.
Yeah, I gotta say, Timothée Chalamet is he's very clever and he's funny. He's very funny. I don't know if you guys saw recently, there's this artist, his name is SD Kid. He's like a rapper, but he wears this mask and he has the same features as Timothy, and no one knows his like real identity. And everyone's like, oh, it has to be Timothy under the mask. It has to be him. And there's been like this speculation for, I don't know how long. I recently found out about this, but they recently dropped a song, or it was like a clip on Instagram where this artist is singing and then there's this other guy standing next to him and the other guy takes off the mask and it's Timothée Chalamet like rapping with him to show like, no, that's not me, but I can rap. He just does these funny things where it's like...
Well, it's funny and there's strategy to it because I think part of what he did was he had a video with that rapper, or somehow incorporated, was wearing a Marty Supreme jacket.
Yeah, and he said Marty Supreme in his verse.
So he's really good as, again, piggybacking on hype, or
Yeah.
finding really unique ways to fit into the conversation what he's trying to do in a way that doesn't feel advertising.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel salesy.
Well, there's just, so like PR is another part of all of this, right? And how movies are getting promoted. When Wicked went on their press tour for the first movie, right? That was a really good example. Just all the hype and the way that they showed up on every single interview, regardless if people liked it or disliked it, people were talking about it. I know that, Eric, you haven't seen Heated Rivalry yet, a show that has exploded in a way that I have truly never even seen before. It's absolutely wild.
Have you seen it? Do you know what it is?
I mean, Christina
Have
told
we
me about it.
Have we talked about it? Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it. And after that, I had 4 of my friends tell me, you have to watch the show.
It's the best show I've ever seen. So, but what I've really appreciated about even the way that the 2 main actors are handling their press tour is so brilliant. It's just like what you're talking about with Timothy. They know how to play. They know how to be self-branding. It's funny because one of them, so many people joke about the fact that he hasn't gone through media training. I guarantee that he absolutely has gone through media training, and this is the version of his own personal brand, and it's absolutely brilliant because it feels authentic, it feels raw, it feels messy, and it aligns so perfectly with even the show. So yeah, some people are really, really smart, and really the way that they execute the marketing, all of that's under the umbrella of marketing, is absolutely brilliant.
Well, so just the way you described it, I would say marketing is the strategy behind sales, PR, the product, all the experience. It's putting all of that together and then getting people to show up. Advertising is billboard version of it, but marketing is like putting all of that together, the strategy behind how do we go from where we are to where we want to be with fill in the blank of the product, the service, whatever it is. But PR,
Okay, so you're saying PR is like a component to
PR
the
is
marketing.
a part of marketing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. In specific, where PR can be the most effective is if the marketing is done really well. And this is what kind of gets missed, is like there's ways to kind of smoke screen certain products, certain services. Part of the reason that Heated Rivalry is as good as it is because it's fucking great. Right. And people are talking about it because it creates conversation. This is what we spend a lot of time. This is what we maybe spend too much time with 6 Degrees, is how do we create word of mouth? How do we make sure that the experience is so good that when someone does it, they're going to tell someone about it. Right. That's part of marketing. The PR piece is, now that I have that, now that we have attention and people are doing that, how do we leverage that? How do we go on where can we go and talk about that? What are the relationships that we can tap into, that someone will write about it, that I can go on a podcast for, that I can go get an interview with, right? That's PR. And sometimes that can help the hype, and sometimes it'll be more effective. It's gasoline when there's already a fire going. It's a piece of it that can be really effective depending on what's going on, but usually more effective. So Heated Rivalry is a good example of, I don't know that they did a great job of marketing in terms of before the show.
No, because
I think a bunch of people have seen it, and it's so good that people are talking about it.
Yeah.
So that starts the fire.
Right.
And then part of what marketing would be is like, cool, this is so amazing. The experience is great, because I can't, when there's different departments at a big company, I don't have that much control over it, but there's a fire here. How do we get the most out of this fire? How do we get more eyeballs, more attention, more views, more sales, more exposure? That's what marketing can do. And that's the interesting part. Like, what interested me when I took my degrees in marketing, and so the interesting part for me was always, how do you get someone to change behavior? How do you get someone that always goes and buys coffee from X to go, I'm going to try this different place today? And there's some psychology to it, which is always super interesting to me. But more and more today, it's like, how do I cut through the noise? There's so much noise. So how do I stand out in a way that gets people's attention? Because attention is the thing.
Yeah. And I love celebrities that sort of do that kind of hop on the trends and play into the jokes.
Ryan Reynolds is really great at it.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, he has all these brands, and like, he's, as an actor, he's leaned into the different ways. He has Mint Mobile, he has a gin, but like all of it is him, and he's using his personal brand to market it in a really effective way. So
until it stopped working.
It stopped working.
Well, I feel like just with the Blake Lively situation, like ever since that happened with the lawsuit, I feel like I haven't even seen Ryan Reynolds, which is wild. Because I agree with you. Before that happened, I feel like he was one of those people who was really good about marketing.
Well, that's the problem with building a personal brand, right? Who are we with? Yeah, we were talking about Pokemon. And Pikachu can't get Me Too'd.
Right. Pikachu cannot get Me Too'd because Pikachu is a character. It's not a person.
Right.
We were talking about the value of a Pokemon card versus a LeBron James basketball trading card. So the trading cards for actual human beings could potentially plummet if something comes out and something happens.
Yeah.
And so with the character, a fictional character, that can't happen. So it's interesting. That's also part of the conversation that Eric and I have had so many times, is right now, him and I are such a big part of the 6 Degrees brand.
Oh, yeah.
And so for us, it's how do we continue to remove ourselves from being so tied to the brand of 6 Degrees so that 6 Degrees can exist as the brand.
Yeah, the branding conversation is always really interesting. But yeah, so personal brands are actually probably the most effective way to build a brand, and they can fall apart at something happens. Someone gets accused of something that maybe didn't even happen.
Yeah. With cancel culture nowadays.
And all of a sudden,
that happens very quickly.
Welcome to 2026.
Exactly. Yeah. I could say one spicy thing on here, and it gets pulled and used in ways.
6 Degrees is canceled.
Yeah. Christina's canceled. 6 Degrees is canceled. Look what she said.
It's true, though. I mean, and then it just gets clipped, and it could be clipped out of context, and this is part of what happens.
Well, I mean, there was just recently, because I'm avid and I listen to every Armchair Expert, but they recently absolutely blew up because of something that he said when they had Cher on, and people came after him like crazy. I mean, they were all after him. And then they also got nominated for a Globe. So they were at the awards, and every single person that they talked to, like walking through the press line, asked them about that episode and about that comment, which they went in prepared for that because there was already so much heat on that. This is a podcast that has been around for over 6 years. There's so much content to show who these people are and how they're vulnerable and what they share and all of these other things. And so, yeah, it just takes one little clip to take it out of context and go, this person's crazy. Why would they ever say that?
Yeah,
and why would
the
blah,
media,
blah, 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 blah.
The media does not care about all the good someone has done because everyone is so bored. Like everyone loves an opportunity to hop on a hate campaign half the time without even knowing what the actual issue is. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. Like things like Instagram or TikTok, you'll read comments when someone's quote unquote canceled, and it's all these hateful, terrible things that people are commenting, and then another video comes out where someone's like, actually, maybe they're not in the wrong. You'll go back to the comments, and the comments are like, oh, we forgive you, it's okay. Like, I don't know. It's just the switch of opinion in the media really should be studied.
So you grew up the last, high school and college, these last few years. Is that, would you say, on your radar of, I have to pay attention a little bit more in a different way?
You mean like being aware of
just
what's real and what's like?
Well, I guess just for you, you personally, like with your friends, because I think my age, there's people that just like they had Twitter and they just whatever's on Twitter and like is it at a stage where I'm aware of there's certain things I just shouldn't do?
100%. I mean. Yeah, there's certain things that you can't say anymore. I mean, one of my favorite shows ever is The Office, and I watch it religiously, and sometimes I'll see episodes, I'm like, that would not slide today. There was a situation in my high school where actually a video got out of a girl, like, saying racist remarks, and it was this whole thing. She had to issue an apology on her Instagram, and everyone at school
made her do that?
No, just
okay.
The school I don't think got involved, but it was more so just the social aspect of it where everyone was saying things to her. So she issued like an apology type of thing on Instagram, and so I mean, I don't think I've really lived my day to day having to be like hyper aware of what I'm saying or doing, but I think in the world we live now, you definitely have to be a little bit more careful with the way you say things and your words. Yeah,
there's definitely a sensitivity to certain things, and rightfully so. And I was just more curious of, there's so many people like my age or older that would just be like, back in my day. I'm so glad that we didn't have any of this shit, because all of these people would have been canceled. All this shit, all this stuff.
Canceled. I mean, how many? Yeah, I mean,
sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah, but like to your point of watching The Office, right? Mm-hmm. There's even shows that I grew up on that when I grew up watching that, it was considered fine or okay or whatever, and
socially acceptable.
Socially acceptable, exactly. Yes.
Politically correct.
Right,
is a newer thing.
That's just continued to evolve over time.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
How many influencers nowadays or celebrities get canceled because their old tweets get leaked and they were 16 or 12 years old saying things? I don't know. It's just
how much weight gets put on whether an 18-year-old tweeted or whatever. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so much of it, and there are. It's a crazy world. You have an interesting take on
The Office.
The Office.
So the thing I really appreciate about The Office is Michael is really the only character who steps out of line during every single episode. And the thing is, the rest of the characters are calling him out and trying to correct him when he does things that are inappropriate. So it's almost like they essentially made it timeless, because I can still watch that show and the things that are not, quote, politically correct, they're being called out in the show that's happening, that I'm watching. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just such a brilliant way to go about it. It's almost just like calling out the comedian, right? If we were offended by the comedian and what they said. But there's this voice of politically correctness about it, right? If I think about Pam and Jim and just certain characters that never do something that's politically incorrect, right, in what we would see now, I just feel like that was a really brilliant way to go about, I can still make the joke in my show and be so inappropriate, because I'm calling it out during the same episode, it works.
Yeah. I thought that was, you told me that one time and I was like, oh, that's super. I never noticed it. I never understood why this is so, it still works. And Seinfeld is similar.
Seinfeld is similar. Well, Seinfeld is interesting because there's not really many, if any, moments. There might be a couple of moments that is, ooh, but even the thing I can think about is the episode where he buys the Native American statue as a gift. I think he names it like that, right? He says, like, I don't know. I can't remember
Seinfeld's
exactly.
different. Where have you seen when Seinfeld?
No,
Seinfeld's probably a little too old for you.
It definitely is older.
Seinfeld, the reason, so they're really good about going up to the line and not crossing the line is what's different.
Yeah, and that episode was the only one where I feel like it got as
a little dicey.
Maybe a little dicey. Like that's the one that comes to mind for me because I think I'm pretty sure they say the Indian statue. Like I think they say that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the one, but every other time that they do something on that show, it's just barely, and then they'll say something like, well, not that there's anything wrong with that, right? There's just things that they'll add into it that it's almost
that
like I can tell
like we're aware that it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
That it could be polarizing,
yes.
but we're still going to say it because,
yes.
I don't know.
There's a difference between smart funny and stupid funny.
Yeah.
And so both of those shows I would describe as just like that's smart funny and borderline offensive or across the line offensive, but it's smart.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And the way that it's gone about, and I just respect like that kind of stuff more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really, it's interesting how certain shows, where I grew up on Friends and I loved that show, and I mean I have seen that TV series at least, I'm going to say 10 times over, and it's been way more than that. But there's plenty of things on Friends that I would watch now and say, ooh, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in Friends that corrects that behavior within the episode, or they're not addressing it, right? I think that's the thing about Seinfeld is they almost address the thing that they're talking about as they're talking. They're talking about the thing.
Did you
Did
you watch Friends?
I did watch Friends.
Okay.
Yes, I've watched it a good amount of times too. But that is really interesting. And I think that, I mean, at least in The Office, the calling out almost makes it a little bit funnier. Like, Jim's signature stare to the camera when Dwight says something crazy is just so funny.
I can hear them all go, Michael, right? Because Michael just did something that just, you cannot say that. You cannot do that. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And it's so smart.
Yeah.
It's so interesting in the world we live in, especially in America. It's like I can literally say anything that I want. That's part of our rights, but can
come with some big
huge consequences.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation to me.
Yeah.
Especially we're in a comedy club right now, and what's offensive? It's only offensive if you're offended.
100%.
Yeah, it is quite interesting when people get offended in this setting of being at a comedy show, especially because, I mean, for the most part, I bought a ticket to go see this show. So I feel like I should go in with the expectations. There's no shoulds, but I would go in with the expectations of they might say something that I don't agree with, and that doesn't mean that this person in front of me is a bad person or they actually believe it or whatever the thing might be. It might just be a release.
Yeah, I mean, like any joke, there's going to be some that don't land with you personally, but it doesn't, like you said, it's only offensive if you take it in an offensive way.
Right.
Yeah, comedy's really
and part of comedy, the reason that comedy is so great and the reason to have it is it borders the line. Like if it's not doing that, it's not doing its job.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can laugh about it. I think that's the beauty of comedy. Sometimes I fucked up or I said the wrong thing, and can there be grace and can we laugh about it?
Yeah.
Can there be forgiveness around it?
Right.
Rather than like, oh, Valentina said this one thing that one time.
Like you're a terrible person now.
Yeah. And I think there's versions of that where we've had conversations, Christine, you and I have talked about this, where it's just like, to be judged by the worst moment of your life, that's not fair.
Yeah.
And how long do I have to be punished for that, or how long do people hold that against me?
Yeah.
Like you said, I always think about that of how, we'll deem someone to be a terrible person because they say one thing, and we forget that we're all human and we're all learning. Some people are just learning publicly, and sometimes, if it's something that they need to be held accountable for, then of course. That's just kind of what comes with being in the public eye.
Well, there's accountability to it, and then there might be like justice and punishment to it.
Yeah, I mean more so like if someone does or says something with malicious intent, then I think that's another, that's
Right.
a whole
That's a
different
different-
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is it coming from? Is it really?
Yeah.
Is it? And it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and this is the Rudy conversation of intention impact. It's like, what did you mean when you said that? Is it ignorance? And it's like, hey, you can't say that word anymore. Well, 10 years ago I could.
Yeah.
Right. There's different versions, different levels of that versus, oh no, like I'm doing this to hurt and twist. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good point. And even just like my mom is a really good example of, I think, just even the language barrier, right? And there's things that people will still say in Mexico that saying that here, it's absolutely not, right? And so there's times where she'll say something, I was like, no, like, Mom, like I know that you're not meaning that in any offense whatsoever, but that is not something that is socially acceptable anymore to say, or maybe ever. And there's just this difference in even cultures and the things that are potentially acceptable in other places. And so it's the ignorance piece of, I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's so many factors that go into it.
Yeah, the difference between the culture is a huge thing. I've experienced that too, being at the dinner table with my whole Mexican family. My grandparents barely speak English, and they're saying certain words. I'm like, nope, you can't say that. They're like, why? Like, no, just, I'll explain later. Just, let's not.
Just take that one out of your vocabulary. That's funny. Well, okay, so from this conversation, which centered a lot around school and marketing, I'm curious, what's the new learning?
Yeah, well, I guess, what are you sitting with? What are you taking away?
I think through this conversation, you asking me about, well, you were abroad, what interested you, what classes kind of sparked that excitement to learn. The thought that's popping up is just going back to that goal to start figuring out my focus in terms of career, that I can take pieces of the learnings and the things that interested me and see how that can come together, going hand in hand with my idea of just getting to talk to more people and getting more exposure to different industries. Yeah, I think that's kind of where my head is at right now.
Yeah, so mine's similar in just this conversation, and we've talked a little bit, but so if we kind of look at internship as like 6 months, and like, what's the next 6 months, and how do we take the things that interest you, the things that you learned, and apply them through 6 degrees, right? And we've talked about the groups being part of that. What's the next 6 months after that? How do we give you as much real world experience while you're in school so that you graduate, and like when you pick your classes in the fall for next year, it's like, I got a taste of this and I really want to try this and explore this path. To me, that would be really interesting for, I think, for you, and especially with what you said about just like the project management, which is probably like more chief of staff type role, right? Or potentially, or even project management at a larger company. But I think there's a bunch of stuff that we can do with where we're at, and try to have you dip your feet in the pool.
Totally.
Dip your toes in. That's what I'm taking away of. How do we get a little bit clearer on what that is?
Chief of staff.
I like
that.
I like the sound of that.
Because I think, because honestly, like the other part of this would be what I think we've said this in the beginning is like, for Christina and I, is like, we want to build a great team of amazing people, and as long as you want to be here, we want to have there be a place for you. And so if we can carve out a landing spot over the next year and a half, it's like, Valentina, you're done with school, hopefully you learned a bunch, here's what we need, and it does that fit with what you're looking for? Like, we would love that. Right?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, also, I think the biggest thing is just getting more real world exposure. I think back to just even the leadership lab that I attended and doing that exercise where I was getting interviewed in real time. Like that was the first time I've experienced it to sort of that level of here's some real questions. Having Rudy kind of correcting and watching and giving feedback, that honestly just boosted my confidence a lot. And yeah, I mean, that was one of the first exposures to that very real world that I'm going to have to encounter a lot.
You're in it. Awesome. At some level, you're in it.
Yeah.
Right? Like with what we're doing. And yes, you're still in school. So you kind of have both. You have a foot on each side, but you're in it right now. How do we make this as real and as useful? It's probably one of our challenges. Like, I want to make sure what you're getting, what you're doing is useful for you. There's a bunch of stuff, like to your point, what you said earlier, like there's a bunch of stuff. There's always something that we could, we could be working on, and that needs to be done. So yeah. I'm very sensitive to that. It's like, I want to make sure it's valuable for everyone.
Right. Which, I mean, this ties into what I'm taking away in the conversation that we had about the desire to learn and the eagerness to learn and the love of learning. And so I'm really appreciating the fact that, and this is something that I've learned and I'm continuing to learn from you, Eric, in how we bring people onto the team of what do you want this to be? What are you, Valentina, excited about? Same thing that we had that conversation with Chidani. We had that conversation with Sammy. What are the things that each of us are excited to do? And how do we lean into that as much as we can? Obviously, like anything, any job, any part of the learning, there's going to be tasks that we don't love and we have to get them done, and that's life. And how do we continue to lean into what drives me, what interests me, what do I want to, what gets me excited to get up and learn about the thing, and how can I get better? There's all different kinds of ways that we can get excited about the thing. So moving away from what school is currently doing and how it operates, and turn it into this place where we really love the thing that we're learning. We really love the thing that we're working on.
Yeah, and I really loved how in the beginning you guys sort of gave me that flexibility. I remember just Eric asking, what do you want to get out of this experience? And almost allowing me to sort of build my own internship a little bit, because I honestly kind of came into it thinking, okay, I'm just going to be assigned things and I just have to get these things done. But it has really allowed me to feel like I am a part of 6 Degrees and I'm not just here to check a box, you know? Yeah. So I really love to feel like I can come forward with ideas and they're going to be heard and considered. So that's been really fun.
That's awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I think part of, Christina, what you just said, and even Valentina, so it's almost what I said earlier about, so what's the interesting problem specific to 6 Degrees that you want to help us solve?
Yeah.
And can we figure that out together?
But I love that shift of asking, what do you want to do? Because that's such a broad statement. What do you want to do in your future? Like, I don't know.
What's something that is is pulling you in that is like, oh, like that's an interesting problem, interesting challenge, interesting something. I'd love to be more involved in figuring out how to support that. And there's a million answers to it. But I think even just in this internship, what's the interesting problem that we have as a company that you want to help be solving with us? I think that's the angle to figure out the next phase of what's next.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it.
Sweet. Thank you so much. Hopefully being on this side of it was a fun experience.
And then I'm gonna have to listen to myself
wait till you hear it back.
This one's gonna be rough.
You're gonna love it.
So this deep dive for Valentina, I almost want to call it this deep dive for Eric Ozarowski and Christina Gent. It wasn't, I listened back, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
So time out.
I'm about to get into it. Okay.
Well, sure. Okay. I'll let you.
Yeah. On the way home from recording with Valentina, Eric and I, we talked about that we both felt that we really dominated the time together, right? And we felt that we were each like speaking a lot more than we typically do in this setting when we have someone on. And so that's what I was sitting with going into listening back to it, is like, oh, I even started tallying how many questions we each asked. It's like, did we actually ask enough questions? Were we asking questions?
I know I asked questions.
Yeah, I have at least 10 tallied on here before I had to stop listening to it, and I had to kind of skim the rest of it, which was only like the last 20 minutes. There were plenty of questions that were asked.
What's that compared to the normal?
Well, I've never tallied questions before.
Sure.
I think,
guess why did it? It wasn't as, I don't know, bad's the right word, but. It still was. We definitely took up more space than we gave to our guest, Valentina, for that episode. It did show up. Did it show up as bad as the story I was making up in my head? No. And it was there. It was part of it. Why do you think that happened? For you, I'm not going to ask for both of us unless.
So you're asking my role in some of that.
I'm just asking.
Like
I'm interested in reflecting on that. The experience was great conversation with Valentina.
Yeah.
I felt like I talked more, like shared more stories and colored things in more than I typically do.
Yes.
And I was very aware of that. And I'm interested in just why you think that for you, like why that happened, because I think it was both of us. I felt myself talking more than I normally do.
Well, and so this is actually really interesting because I don't feel like I talked more than I normally do. And you and I have discussed this, that the way that we've typically showed up is you come in with more questions, and then I've been someone who supports the conversation with story in the moment with the guest. And you're right, there's not a ton of times that you will also share story and provide a little bit more context or your experience. And for some reason in this one, you did that more than any of the other ones that we've done so far, really, unless we've been asked by the guest certain questions, which that's happened too. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak. I guess I don't know if I can answer your question because I don't know that I showed up any differently than I normally do.
Okay, then for me, like, why do you think that happened for me?
Well, I don't know why.
Just from the outside looking in, from your experience, like, what's the if you have anything, if you don't, you don't. Like,
I mean, the only place where my head goes is going to Cartman's Drama Triangle. And you have said multiple times, and we both, I think, know this, the dynamic of our relationship and just what I've seen is coming from rescue. And I mean, the story I'm making up is potentially this place of Valentina being younger and hasn't been in the workforce a ton compared to the people that we've had on at this point, I guess. I mean, you kind of said that. You named that a little bit when we were talking about it on the car ride home. And so that's my only, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit biased in my answer because you've already named that point.
I think that's part of it, for sure. I think that there was just a want, or just to make her feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? I just wanted her to not be like, oh, like I'm in school. Like so many people are like, I'm in school. Like and not that this is her at all, but so many young people, like I don't know what to put on my resume. Like, why do I deserve a job? Or like, what do I talk about me? Right. And maybe that was just more of me projecting on that. And instead of going where we normally go with, tell us about you and your family. And
yeah, because there's actually
there's a bunch of stuff that I don't know about Valentina still.
And there's so much that's so interesting about her and her family, and being here in San Diego and diving into that a little bit more. And we don't always talk about family with every single member person that we've had on here. I do think that was that there was potential for that being a very interesting path.
Yeah, and then I think the other part is like the marketing topic, right? And there was like it happens with certain people where we're talking about marketing. I get interested and I get excited about talking about marketing, and I think specific with her, I know some of it was like, there were some interesting parts about the classes that I took, and I felt like that was a place for me to share my experience because I kind of nerd out on it, right?
Yeah. It was like, there was even a moment where you and her were about to say something at the same time, and you even said, go ahead. And I was like, oh my God, Eric. I mean, you had to say it, right? Instead of allowing the space, or just, right? Like, it just kind of reinforced what we both...
I'm excited about marketing. I don't know. Yeah, there was, I was, again, I felt like I was taking more space with the stories that I was saying and not necessarily turning them into tying them into a question for her was probably the biggest difference.
Yeah.
It was, I was almost using it more as like a teaching moment, right? Rather than here's a thing that's popping up for me and let me spark a question and go deeper.
Well, so that's interesting if it's coming from almost using it as a teaching moment, and yet the way that I have seen you teach is by asking questions and turning the question, right? And obviously not that she was sitting here asking questions that you're turning, and yet here's the thing that I want to talk about, that Eric, I want to talk about as Eric. Sometimes it's hard to when we're on just audio. Here's something that me, Eric, I want to talk about, and what if I, instead of going into the story first, ask the question, and then where does that go? And then is there still space for me to put in what I was going to say or whatever the thing is. So it was just you and I both noticed it. We both, it was leaving here that we both said, that's
different.
That's different. It showed up different. We showed up different.
Yeah.
And so honestly, it really just makes me excited for the next time that we have her on here, and so we can do another round and go deeper. Because here's the, not necessarily that this is a miss per se, but it's like, how cool to have this be yet another way that maybe she is applying for this big time job in the future, and they come across this and they get to hear who she is and how smart she is and how her brain operates through the stories that she's telling and the experiences that she's been through. And at, the next time we have her on, maybe even some of the things that she's brought into 6 Degrees and what that impact is, and being able to talk about it. I think, not that that's I'm painting a scenario that's like hypothetical and might not ever happen, but
Sure.
It would be nice to allow for that to be the space rather than a teaching moment. And I don't even know, I mean, you said that just now, and I don't know if that was like a conscious decision to make it a teaching moment.
I'm just specifically like 1 or 2 times where I, again, went into story mode about marketing.
Yeah.
And part of it I would imagine is like just geeking out on something that I enjoy and getting caught up in that. I would say it's partially that, partially what I said before about maybe trying to rescue in a way that didn't need to be. And yeah, I know we mentioned it. So Valentina, when you hear this, like, I would actually love to hear if you felt it.
Yeah.
Because I actually don't know that we've got like that feedback from her, but we both obviously had the experience of, okay, that was different, and I clocked it. And yeah, what was her live reaction, and as when she edits it, like, does she feel that? So
yeah. Well, I can also see, so as I'm listening back, so we each have different colors, and so I can also see how much of our colors you and I are showing up versus Valentina, right? And just like seeing how that maps out. It would be cool. I mean, I'm sure that there's some way to throw that into AI and just be like, what's the actual percentage that each of us are in the conversation?
Do that with a transcript. I wonder how much of it is Valentina too, right? I think she's similar to you, where she's spongy, where like I think there's a lot of intent listening.
Sure.
Right. And I definitely have heard her speak her voice, and she's so eloquent when she speaks. And I think sometimes like there's a habit to, in a good way, like listen. And that's a part of this.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true. That could also be part of it. So just naming it and interesting, and it's all learning. And
yeah. It changed the way I've showed up on recent ones, I'll tell you that much.
Well, see, that's good. Okay, there's plenty here, and I do want to wrap up with the next 15.
This seems like a good place to stop.
But I do want to...
Yeah, one more?
On this episode, we talked about how ridiculous it was for us to care so much about impressing the people that we went to high school with. because we were talking about like getting into these elite schools and going to a college, a university versus going to a community college. And
Yeah, I didn't have that. I went to community college.
you didn't feel the pressure at all?
No, I said I don't know what I want to do. It doesn't make sense for me to spend money on when I can take the same
That's
classes.
so smart. That's so smart.
It was also a little bit different for me where the community college, so because of the way the town set up, like me and another, like Foxshore Grove and Cary combined, because I was in Foxshore, we went to Cary Grove, and because of the way the district worked, I was actually like able to go to a different community college. I was
Outside of like your little...
Yeah, so much of community college can feel like high school 2.0, where the people that stick around, they go to the community college, because McHenry County College was the one that everyone in our, most people go to. Mm-hmm. And then there's like a small chunk that can go here and okay. I was part of it was Harper, and it's actually, I think it became a 4-year accredited school. Like they were on it was like, this was just a better experience. So, but yeah, no, I didn't have the like the stress or the pressure. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, my thought going into college was, well, I'm a union laborer at 18. I'm making $35 an hour and $50 an hour when I'm working overtime. I worked a lot of overtime. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to take a night class and a online class. And if it takes me 10 years to go to school, I'm never not going to go to school, but this seems like a smarter path than to go into a bunch of debt.
Yeah.
That was the plan. So yeah,
that's so smart.
I didn't care. And then I did that for a month and then the economy happened.
It's interesting because it's like, so there's that part where it's like, I don't really care. And like, so, cause we're talking about like in this question and in this topic, it's like caring about what other people think. And I think you don't necessarily have this, I care what other people think. And yet we talk about how you care about, like, you want people to like you. So I think right now in this conversation, it's, there's actually a difference between those two things.
I guess the difference would be I believed in what I was doing enough where it didn't matter what people think.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, there's no part of you going to community college that like changes someone liking you.
No.
Right? It doesn't have an effect on them. So that's interesting. Well, the truth I was going to get into and admit in this conversation about this specific talking point is this part of like really caring what they think in high school and all these people that we'll never see again and are not part of our lives whatsoever. I think there's a little bit of a difference with you. There's more people that you are still in contact with from high school and from growing up than I think, at least from the conversation that we had with Valentina, than she does or that I do. I have a very small group of people that I still connect with. And I just connected with them recently, which is why this is also really top of mind. And the fact that I think even part of the reason why I haven't been back to Lynchburg in so many years is because there's still a part of me that cares what they think. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to go back unless I feel like I'm successful in some way, shape, or form, or that I have, right? Like I think I actually do still sit with that, and I still have.
That's normal.
I think it is normal. It's like
anyone
the
that's
classic,
gone back to a 10-year
right,
anniversary,
10-year reunion, and it's
reunion.
like I'm I've got all this shit figured out and whatever, and so it's just funny because we were discussing like, why the fuck did we care what they thought about where I'm going to college or what I'm doing or whatever the thing is, and it's like, shit, I still care.
Yeah, the reality is it doesn't. Well, you don't care until 10 years later, 20 years later, when you go back to the reunion, then you care again.
Yeah,
for probably the same reason that doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
is the
yeah. It's like I don't give a shit about it. Like on my day to day, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not like, I don't care about any of it until the conversation happens of the possibility of going back and seeing all these people, and I'm just like, oh, well, shit.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I have one coming up next year, potentially.
Yeah?
Next year would be 20 years.
Nice. I didn't get to go to number 10 because it was COVID.
Yeah, 10 was, I'd say 20. 20 is a bigger deal.
Sure. I literally haven't been back in, I don't know, at least, I think it's at least 12. Well, no, so if 10, so it's been 15 years? Something like that. Well, hold on. That was 10 years from high school. So maybe it's been closer to 12, 13 years. But yeah, I legit haven't stepped foot in Lindsborg, Kansas for at least 12 years.
Next year, right?
Yeah, next year.
What's the Hillings
So not
Fest?
20. Yeah, Hillings Fest. Not in 2026, but October of 2027 is my
We'll be there.
is my goal.
Mark it down.
Mark it down. It's happening. I've put it out into the world a lot at this point, so I gotta hold myself accountable.
Yeah. Here, use this knife and cut your hand and put her there, bub. make it a blood oath.
A blood put her there, bub? Oath? Wow. This is getting real serious with the put her there, bub.
I need you to put the knife away, though.
Stop it.
When you're done with it.
For the listener, there is no knife. Put her there, bub.
Well, even the imaginary knife, you need to put it away.
Oh. Well, I don't want them to think that there's an actual knife.